These days people are still going on and on about Trump's tariff war, some with great enthusiasm, others with no small amount of agony. For us Chinese, especially those in Chinese language media, what really matters is, how much damage has this trade war actually done to China? There's a common gut feeling people have, one they probably don't even question, which goes like this. America is powerful, China is weak. So once these two go head to head, it's like a burly bloke getting into a scrap with a skinny lad. And naturally, your first reaction is, well, the big guy's going to win, right? The little fella's bound to get battered. But if you look a bit closer, it doesn't necessarily play out that way. The big lad, yeah, he's strong, but give him one solid punch or jab him with a knife and he might be the one keeling over. Meanwhile, that scrawny lad, he already lives like death warmed up. Or at least he's mentally prepared for that kind of life. So, if you keep punching him and he doesn't die, well, he's just chuffed he's still breathing. Maybe even a bit proud of himself. A lot of young people, especially young Chinese, don't really know their history. The information just isn't there for them. The China they were born into, say if you were born in the 80s or 90s, already had color films, color cinemas. Very quickly there were mobile phones, all the modern conveniences, and from food to fashion to fun, it all seemed on par with the rest of the developed world. In their minds it's always been like this. China's always been like this. The world's always been like this. So when things start to wobble a bit, when there's a threat or some pressure, they panic. They think we've lost. They think China's collapsed. But that's just surface-level panic. What they don't realize is that prosperity they enjoy, it's still very new. And China's survival instinct, our patience, our capacity to endure is deep-rooted. This isn't to insult the Chinese people or to accuse them of being submissive or spineless. No, it's just the truth. It's not that we don't understand dignity, grace, or pride. It's just that, historically, no one's given us the space or the tools to learn what those things really mean. Take, for example, if an American cop mistreats a citizen for speeding, say, oversteps his authority or acts like a right prat. Even if the driver really was speeding, that citizen still has the right to challenge the officer, file a complaint. And why? Because society gives him the means to do so. He's got the system, the rights, the legal framework, and more than that, he has the confidence that he won't be crushed for doing it. But in China, that sort of thing? It's rare, almost unheard of. Even today, in a so-called modernized China, the average person still doesn't have the guts or the legal means to go toe-to-toe with a cop. Not because they're cowards, not at all. It's because the system doesn't back them. The system protects power, officials, party interests, bureaucrats. If a citizen sues a cop, the court might just refuse the case outright, or if they do hear it, they'll rule in favor of the cop, unless you've got overwhelming evidence, and even then, you'll need third-party proof. This is just one small example, but it runs across every area of life in China. Work, school, politics, entertainment, science. There's always some invisible hand pressing down on people. You can do what you like, but you better keep your head down while you're at it. Don't be loud, don't be wild, don't challenge authority. You can stand, but don't puff out your chest. You can kick, but only at the ground. This obedience, this resilience, it's not in our blood because we're naturally submissive. It's been forged by history, by circumstance. From the Qing dynasty all the way through to today, Chinese people have never really stood tall, never dared to look the government in the eye. Ask any ordinary Chinese citizen, not the elite, not officials' kids, just your average bloke on the street. How many of them truly feel like they're on equal footing with the government? I've never met one. Maybe they exist, but they're few and far between. In America, though, loads of people see themselves as equals with the state, even above it. They believe it's their job to keep the government in check. Some even make it their life's mission to challenge authority. I once asked my son to jazz up a photo of his grandfather, my father, on his motorbike, a shot taken when he was well into his 90s. I said, make it look cooler, more heroic. The result? He sent me back an image of my dad blazing through the night, sparks flying off the tires, 3 police cars chasing him down. To him, a true hero is someone who dares to defy the government, someone who stands his ground. Ask a Chinese kid to make the same picture, they'd never do it. They'd think it's humiliating, that it paints granddad as a criminal. That's because deep down, Chinese people are raised to believe the government is justice, the state is good. If the state is chasing you, you must be evil. People born in the 50s, 60s, even 70s, they won't forget this mentality, or at least if they've forgotten, it's on purpose. But bring it up, and the memories will come flooding back. There's a lot more to be said. about what life was like before reform and opening up. Let's not even talk about politics or technology or international standing, just daily life. For starters, there were no napkins on dining tables. People wiped their mouths with handkerchiefs, bits of cloth, or their sleeves. Working class people's sleeves were always shiny with grease. In fact, they'd even compare, "Look at my sleeve, proper dark in it." A nice handkerchief was a prized possession, a sign of class, sometimes even given as a romantic gift. Toilet paper, forget it. The posh families had coarse yellow paper, sometimes bought in big sheets and cut at home. Most people used scraps. Cloth rags, bits of wood, stones, grass, yes, grass. People think that's unimaginable, like something you'd expect in the Stone Age. But that's exactly what life was like in China before reform, not just under communism, before that too. China skipped over the Industrial Revolution. It went straight from empire to socialism. So, of course, things were primitive. In offices, only top-level municipal departments used white paper. Most people used coarse yellow sheets. Taking office paper home for your kid, you could be publicly shamed as a thief. Paper was precious. Now kids scrawl one word and chuck the page. Back then, a single blank sheet meant a lot. And banking? No computers, just a little red stamp, your personal seal. No IDs, no pins. You tell them your name, they go to a cabinet like it's a Chinese medicine shop, pull out your savings book, write in the balance by hand, stamp it, done. Want to rob a bank? You'd be shot on the spot. No trial, no lawyer, no sympathy. No one would question if it was fair, because in people's minds the government equals sign justice, and anyone the government punishes equals sign evil. There's more I could say about household utensils, coal stoves, iron pots, how people kept warm. You can look it up, it's all there. But the point is, the average Chinese person, before reform and opening up, lived in what Americans would call a primitive state. It wasn't until reform that we slowly started catching up. Bit by bit, we moved closer to modern civilization, in hardware, in thinking, in material comfort. But it's like this. Imagine a rabbit has been sprinting ahead for 200 years, and the tortoise has just plodded in from the woods. And then, suddenly, God picks up the tortoise and plonks him next to the rabbit at the start line. The tortoise looks around, confused, sticks his head out slowly. Is it safe? And then, it's safe! So he starts singing happily. But in that tortoise's mind, there's a blank space. No memory of how he got here. And that's the problem. The tortoise has forgotten who he is. He thinks he's the rabbit now, but he's not. He's still a tortoise. And if the rabbit ever comes for him, really comes for him, well, all the tortoise has to do is pull his head in. Can the rabbit crack his shell, smash him open? Of course not.